Hey everyone, I'm Patrick Jones and welcome to episode 67. That gives me anxiety. What a dramatic pause there, huh? I had a good week last week. Jamie was traveling for work, and I'm so glad. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? I love her. But also, there's just like, I just revert back to a Neanderthal when she's not here. Like, I don't raise the blinds. They're just going to come back to. But it's so much nicer to have sunlight. It just doesn't occur to me until it's like the afternoon, and it's like, oh man, it's pretty dark in here. I just somehow wind up eating pizza every night. I mean, at one point I had fried chicken for 3 meals in a row. It's like my brain just tightens up just to be like hungry, fried chicken, and you move on, right? Let's not dwell on this. I just got to eat something and keep moving. So yeah, these Jamie's business trips might take years off my life. Also, I had something exciting happen. One of the memes that I made on Instagram is like, I think it's got like 1 million views already. It makes me the amount of likes coming in as it was flowing up. I think it's sort of like leveling out now. It just like bombards you. It makes me think like celebrities most likely can't ever open Instagram, right? Well, they just get on their post and move along. Oh, I see an alligator swimming. It's rare that I see them swimming. They just kind of like show up and then you turn around and they're missing. So just slowly sauntering. Fun. Isn't it great that I just stopped my train of thought to talk about something that you can't see? What was I saying? Oh, yeah, if you're a celebrity and you're getting like a ton of likes all the time, you must just post something and then close the app. Like there's no scrolling for you because you're just being bombarded. Maybe Instagram has like a different feature that like blocks all the notifications for, someone who is important or is Instagram famous. Well, I've got a great episode lined up for you. It's part 2 of anxiety related to elevators, featuring mental health counselor Pallavi Yetur. Love having Pallavi on. This might be her 5th episode. I mean, I would do a show with just Pallavi, co-host. I also have my friend Alissa on, who is so open and honest about this, like, really significant fear in her life. I mean, she has to face her fears and sort of white knuckle it every day. And so I appreciate her communicating that because I think it's, certainly helpful for her, but also other people that have elevator fears or, we're all afraid of something and we don't want to be that afraid, right? So, trying to work through it. But before we get to the interviews, I just want to remind you if you're liking the show, please remember to rate and review it. 5 stars, leave a little, what a podcast, right? See, I just wrote it there. What a podcast. Post. That'll really help me out with the algorithms. Speaking of algorithms, you can check the show out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. If you're liking the show, you can also make a donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's in the description wherever you're listening. And I also want to remind you of the partnership I have with Pure Spectrum CBD. I use their salves, their moisturizer, their gummies, I'm going to say bath salts, but I don't think that's right. I just use it, right? I don't really question it. I mean, remember when I was talking about how I don't open the blinds and I just sit in darkness because I don't think of it? That's who I am. Just like to keep it simple. But yeah, I use a lot of their products and I'm a huge fan, and I think I always describe it as another tool in my anxiety tool belt, and so I think that it could be really helpful for you, and they offer the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your orders. So put that in at checkout and enjoy. So yeah, ready to jump into part 2 on elevators. As always, thank you so much for listening and enjoy. I don't know why, but I don't like the way I say enjoy. Joining me again on the podcast, I have Alissa Salvatore, who's a actress, wedding singer, host, you name it, she does it. Alissa, how are you doing?
I really do, and I promise I'm not like a jack of all trades, master of none. I just really love doing all this stuff. So,
And you're a
yeah.
master at all of them. Yeah,
Oh, come on.
yeah,
Listen, I love what I do, even though it's really slow right now. So I'm not doing much of anything at the moment, but I'm getting creative, and that's all we could do, right?
hey,
Gig
it's
life,
podcast season. Yeah.
podcast season. Let's go. Talk elevator phobias.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm curious. You've had a little bit of what Pallavi had to say. I'm curious, just your initial take as we jump back in here.
Yes.
You've been listening to clips from
Yeah.
a therapist.
Yes. I just
How does that
feel.
make you feel? Yeah, it's tough to be like, is that seeping in at all? Right?
I mean, I love hearing the rational scientific side of things, like the neuroscience behind why these things happen, or if they were triggered by a specific event, or if we made them up. Like, I think that's so interesting. And I feel like that's the real life out here. But I'm in like my little bubble where I'm like, it's going to be my journey when my brain decides that like I'm safe and okay and don't have the fight or flight feeling when I hit an elevator. Like, I don't know when I'll be okay to do that. Even if I
Mhm.
have all the information, this is such a strong thing that I've had for so long, and it's been part of my identity for so long, that which is really interesting. And it's a thing that my like followers on Instagram know about me, because every time I got to do an audition or voiceover, they'll find me in the stairwells if I can, and I will walk up to the 21st floor. So
Really?
even in my mid 30s with all the science and information, I still have my quirks and ticks that make me go, no, 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 you know what? I'm just gonna like ask the security guard, or like do something, or make myself look weird, and oh god, it's just awkward all around.
Yeah. I mean, the one word in when you define phobia is the irrational fear, right? Like you're a rational human
Yeah,
being who has the information that elevators are safe, and yet you still have this fear. So
yeah,
you certainly can't beat yourself up for that.
yeah. I actually, I don't know if we'll get into this, but she mentioned something, claustrophobia versus, oh, I forget the other one.
Oh,
Claustrophobia.
yes, that's yeah, it
Do
was
you
a
want?
tough one.
Could we get into that yet, or I don't want to like, I don't want to
Yeah,
scare
well,
you.
actually, let's just jump right into that clip.
Okay.
Can we talk? I know you've got a lot on your plate. You've got work, you've got friends, you've got family, pets, you've got the people that you make small talk with at the coffee shop or gym. You've got that bird that you see when you wake up every morning outside your window that you've projected things onto. Look at that bird. Doesn't even love its family. It's always by itself. You do that. Everyone does that. Point is, you've got a lot on your plate. Well, that's why there's Instacart, to take a little bit off your plate. Using Instacart, you search for all your favorite foods and things that you need from the grocery store, all online, all while you're looking at that bird, wondering why it hasn't called its mom. And they deliver it to you. They go to the store and do the shopping for you. And they can deliver it in as fast as an hour. And you can sign up by clicking the link in the description, wherever you're listening or watching. And that's a great way of supporting the show. So it's a great way of supporting this show. It's a great way to make your life a little bit easier, because we all know that you have so much going on, like wondering whether that bird judges you back. Well, you touched on it a little bit before, but I want to talk about just generally how we can attack phobias that we have.
hmm It is going to be about, with any kind of anxiety, bringing ourselves out of our own heads with it, right? So if it lives in our mind, it has the opportunity to grow into something really big, irrational, infinite, and it feels uncontrollable. It feels insurmountable. And so that's when we start to do all kinds of maladaptive things, or making choices that aren't really working for us based on this kind of big amorphous thing. And so that is why bringing it into the conscious and bringing it into a place of reality is going to be the process to deflate that balloon a little bit. So that's why talk therapy can help, or even like talking to anyone, or even not going down some kind of fear hole, but doing what you need to do to bring a dose of perspective or reality to this thing. Like, what is it that I'm so afraid of? I'm afraid of being trapped in an elevator. Okay, what if I were trapped in an elevator? Do I trust myself to be able to deal with whatever that condition is? You know, do I feel like I have the wherewithal? And if I don't, how can I really reconnect to my inner confidence and my sense of resilience?
Yeah, that's great. So I often ask you this question. I think I asked it in both of our previous interviews. But let's say, you're doing everything right and you still have that meltdown, right? There's a weird person in the elevator and the lights turn off and you're stuck. And now it's off the charts, right? The
You're
Richter
having a
scale
panic
is,
attack.
yes.
Uh-huh.
What can we do to sort of bring ourselves back down?
Well, bringing ourselves back down, the panic attack is happening because of this like out of controlness. And then
Mm-hmm.
our physicality is mirroring the out of controlness. We're feeling it physically in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so bringing it back down is the really the only thing that is within our control.
Mm-hmm.
We have the opportunity to reclaim our bodies, to reclaim our physical presence. Grounding, I've talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Breathing, like all of the simple stuff that you forget to do when your head is inflating into this big amorphous fear balloon. So bringing it back down into, I'm here, my feet are still on the floor of this elevator, even though it's stopped. Yes, I'm smelling the smells of this guy's BO, but it's okay. I'm okay. I am safe. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, right? If an elevator stops, it's the same thing with, I guess, the subway, right? It stops. You don't know how long it's going to be until it starts again. You don't know how long it's going to be until you're okay, but you have options. And that's what we forget when we're really afraid or really anxious, is what our options are. I have the option to come back into my body and to convince myself that I'm okay. I have the option to press that call button on the elevator and see if someone answers. I have the option. I think that actually happened one time because I used to live in this building in Jersey City and the elevator was always broken.
Oh.
And I got into it was like all, and I lived on the like 12th floor and it just constantly was broken. And there was one time that I got stuck in it and I like was like, I have places to be, and I pressed the call button. They're like, sorry, yeah, we've been having trouble with that elevator. I'll get somebody. Right. So there's something we can do if it's an elevator where you still have cell phone reception. You can call someone. So remembering our options in the moment, which might take us kind of bringing ourselves back into our grounded physical presences before we can actually allow ourselves to think about it.
Yeah. And I've heard, and I'm curious your thoughts on whether you would recommend something like this. I interviewed a therapist who was talking about like you could pinch yourself or like little things like that. Or, she even said like give yourself a little smack just to ground. It sounds silly, but it snaps you out of it, I guess.
Yeah, it's like whatever can actually make you feel like you're back in your physical body. So feeling the weight of your clothes on you, or feeling like the tightness of your waistband, or whatever you need to.
Oh man, my waistband is so tight right now.
You're like, it's so tight. Right? Or feeling like if you're wearing uncomfortable shoes, feeling the pain, like whatever it is, really being able to be in that. So yeah, if you need a little stimuli of like snapping the waistband or holding your purse in your arm until your arm burns, like whatever it is to bring you into your physical presence. And what that does is, again, rather than letting you live in this kind of infinite amorphous place in your mind where things can grow out of control, you're coming into something very finite, which is your physical sensation. That's probably the most real thing that there is in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know the present, the past, the future, or any of that, but we know where we are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now that the audience is in on the clip, where were you going with that?
So I never heard that term before, but I identify with that also very strongly. I think I have both claustrophobia. I have a specific memory of being 7 years old, and I got to go to this Jekyll and Hyde birthday party in the city.
Oh, man, that restaurant, that was, for people who are not around our age, like that was like I had a birthday party around that age there too. So fun. It was like themed and the little like skits and stuff.
So we all went as a group into the room where, like, you first go into the restaurant, they have a little room where the lights go off and the doors all go tss and shut. And then this thing comes on, it's like, welcome to Jekyll and Hyde. Panic attack immediately.
Oh
That
no.
the idea of all the doors closing and like I didn't know
Yeah.
where the exit was. I was 7. And I had to panic to one of the moms and be like, I'm scared. I don't want to be in this room. They had to turn the lights on and open the trap door, and I ruined it for everybody. Everyone was like,
Oh no.
"Aw,
And then
yeah."
everyone's like picking on you.
Everyone was like, "Gone!" Like the birthday boy was like, "Come on!" And I was like, damn it, even at 7, like I'm annoying people with my phobias. But that's a very clear memory I have of being trapped, and also claustrophobic of like we were packed like sardines. And it's crazy because I don't think I'd ever gotten trapped in an elevator up until that point. It was like just this part of me that I discovered. I was like, well, I guess I'm that kind of person that can't be in these situations like normal kids. Everyone's like, yay.
Yeah. This is fun and scary. Let me get some mozzarella sticks, right? Just
I was like, get me out of here. Get me
Yeah.
out of here. Ruin it for everybody.
So wait, like, have you ever been on like the Tower of Terror, or I'm trying to think of other elevator rides?
Same. Yep. I just one of these. God, is it over yet?
Yeah.
Oh God, someone hold me close and just pretend that I'm not in this space. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So here Pallavi talked about a part that I'm excited to ask you about because it feels like it pertains directly to what you've been describing. And the question I asked her was, what if you're having a meltdown, right? You're in an elevator and the worst is happening. And her advice was try to bring yourself back to your body. I'm curious your thoughts on some of the solutions she was suggesting.
I really think that that's where the idea of meditation, connecting with that, like it's all kind of this one thing. When I took a meditation course, it was because we're in a really stressful industry of this like performance and entertainment industry, and I really wanted to get clearer and more focused and less stressed and really like streamline myself. And I remember after I was like really consistently doing it because I paid $1,000 and I was like, I'm gonna commit to this. I would walk into elevators and be okay, and then as soon as I stopped doing it, it like came back in like a huge wave. So I know that the idea of like having this safe space within yourself. You have the power to control your mind. Our mind is so powerful that it could pull us out or push us in. It has that really strong effect on us. So knowing that you have that is really great, but how do you access that when you're in that feeling? I don't know. Like, I don't know how I would do that, because once your mind is doing this, but you're trying to do this, who's going to win? Who's going to win? Knowing that that's there is good to know, but will I be able to access that in the state of panic? Will I be able to get there? So
I had an experience recently. I had to go out to Utah for work, and I decided to go a couple days early and drive down from Salt Lake City to Moab, which for anyone who doesn't know is like there's a bunch of national parks there. It's just like a town with like a brewery, yada, yada, yada. That's a jumping off point. And I got there at 1 a.m. in the morning mountain, which for me felt like 4 in the morning. And there was a note taped on the lobby of the hotel that I booked that said, we don't allow anyone to check in after 11. So I was without a hotel, right? So meltdown, right? I am
that's scary.
Terrified. Yeah. I'm like, where am I going to sleep? I'm so far away. I'm exhausted. I'm cranky. I'm hungry. Like all the things.
All the things.
Oh, just pile it on top. But then I remembered an interview that I did with a woman about airport anxiety. And she described taking you out of your meltdown panic and putting yourself back in your body. And the suggestion she made was to pinch yourself. And I literally was in a parking lot in Moab, Utah, pinching myself. And it helped me just like, okay, here's the problem.
It did work?
It worked. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, okay, at worst, I could sleep in this car. It would be awful, but I can check in the morning and take a nap, right? And then from there, I was like, let me call around in the area. And I ended up finding it was really expensive for a hotel that I was in for 6.5 hours, just sleep and then, get out. But I had a bed with a roof, right? And I wasn't just like panicking in a parking lot, which was not, it wasn't going to help me at all.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's really good to know, though.
yeah, yeah,
Pinching
just
myself.
pinch. It's just anything that shifts your brain from like the panic, like we're just shoveling
Mhm.
coal on the panic fire.
God, I can't imagine that. That's another just terrifying when you're just in an uncertain location. You've never been there. You don't know what's going on, and like the night is coming, and you're like, "Oh God, I could pull an all nighter and just like sit here and like stay awake and wait till the daylight comes, and it's not so scary." But you like were able to get yourself out of that and find a place. Oh man, thank
Yeah,
God. But
because
yeah,
there were
pinching.
there was a lot of like drunk people around too, so I was just
Really?
like, I don't really want to deal with that bullshit on
Yeah.
top of everything, right? It's just
Yeah.
like get me in a room.
Yeah. And I'm sure that room was the best room you've ever seen in your life. You're like, I don't care how much it is. Like, this is a safe haven. I love you. Kissing the rug
Yeah,
and like the carpet. Yeah,
yeah,
I know
seriously,
that feeling. I know that
yeah.
feeling. I don't know if this is also again, I have another story and I don't know where it fits. So I don't know if I should share it, but
Share it.
it's a subway story. So I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx, like born and raised. Never afraid of subways. I'm on them forever. And then there's train traffic. I'm just like picking my nose and like not really, but like it doesn't bother me. Cut to like 5 years ago, I'm on the train between Lexington and 86th and 59th Street,
Mhm.
and the train stops. You know, we're just like waiting, and then it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and people are like starting to get restless. And then the announcement comes on. It literally sounds like this.
Yeah.
We're like, what are you saying? Finally, we hear that there's an unidentified package on the track and they have to wait till the bomb squad
You're gonna
comes
be there
to
forever.
come look at it. So
Yeah.
now everyone's panicking like we're gonna die. There's a
Mhm.
bomb and we're stuck in the two walls. Like it's not the big open one where you could see like the station. It's wall
Right.
to wall. So
Oh,
everyone's panicking. It's been like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. People start getting out and scaling the side of the car, jumping out. I'm getting out of here, climbing on top. And I was just like, okay, this is where I'm gonna die, like a New York terrorist attack. And I mean, it has happened again. Like we have lived through this. It's not
yeah.
that far off for your brain to think that way. And ever since then, it eventually moved. We eventually had to like move backward, but it was probably an hour. And I had no cell service, nothing. So it was one of those situations where you just have nothing but your brain to just say, get a hold of yourself. And I really did. I was like, don't panic, don't panic. But everyone around me was freaking, it's a bomb, it's a bomb. And ever since then, every time there's train traffic, I get the same heart racing fight or flight every time. Even if it stops for like 30 seconds, I'm like, I feel that same PTSD come back. So now I added a
Mhm.
whole new level of like anxiety with small spaces and getting trapped. It's like the trapped situation where you
Right.
can't get out.
Well, I'm sure you remember. I remember they used to make no effort to tell
Oh
you
yeah.
when the train might be moving,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the worst. At least like
Yeah.
I think starting like 10 years ago, they started to
Yeah.
make a better effort to at least like say something.
It's whew, we've really had to deal with a lot as New Yorkers. We're just guessing and we're just living our life. People are like just deal with it as a subway system, but it's scary. Like you are entrusting your life in these little tubes that could just I don't even want to say, but yeah, it's rough out there. It is rough. And
Oh
I
my
want to
gosh.
live a long life, and I feel like with all this stress, it's not helping because the secret to longevity, they say, is like don't stress yourself out and all these little things. And I'm like, how many anxiety filled instances have I had and have they had a permanent impact on my physical body? Can I reverse them?
You
I'm
can, because that's one aspect of living in the South. Like I've noticed
mm,
myself like peeling away, like and realizing
uh,
like, oh, that's the New Yorker talking, right? Like that's like when I
yeah,
see someone driving like a maniac, that was me 2 years
yep.
ago. And now it's like, what's my rush?
Gosh,
Like
that sounds so nice. I just
it
went to visit
is.
someone and they live in a 55 and up retirement community in Florida. And I was
Nice.
there for a week playing pickleball and swimming and doing the aerobics in the pool. My whole like your heart rate, I kept saying I feel like my blood pressure just like went down so much. But New York is my home and it's where I'm from. I love to travel because I like to have like newness and a change of scenery, but these are like my roots. So I
Hmm.
know that I'm going to be in this like crazy cycle of like rushing and stress, and I really try to implement ways to slow myself down, be present in the moment, but it's not easy. You're
It's
just
not
running
easy at all. Yeah.
all the time.
Well, in New York, you do have to have your guard up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for good reason, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah. And then
yeah.
safety too. Like you're walking down the street, you're like that person is probably gonna like come at me, and like this person, you're always just like ready
Scanning.
to go.
Yeah.
You're always at that level. It's so true, especially now. The crime is like pretty rough.
Crazy. Yeah. The other aspect of what Pallavi was saying in this clip that I thought was important is just like reminding yourself. Again, it's like not the easiest thing to do when you're completely panicked, but like reminding yourself that you do have options, right? You can press the button, you can make sure you have a snack with you,
Yes. The
stuff like
snack
that.
thing is huge for me. Starving actress, that's like literally who I am and my brand. I don't walk around with snacks. And that's one of my fears is when I'm in an elevator that I'm going to like starve to death. I'm not joking. Like I have a panic. I have that I don't know if it's hypoglycemia or what. I have to eat like every 2 hours, like a very full meal, or else I start to like get crazy. Like I have to eat like those Snickers commercials. I'm like crazy. I'm mean. And then I have like food and I can like relax. And I feel like if I get trapped and not knowing when I'll be able to eat again is really big. So that is actually really helpful to pack myself some nuts or some this or some that. That may take a level of anxiety away.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Just throw a kind bar. I'll share a story. When I first started dating Jamie, my now fiance, she has like something similar like that. And I would just like have a kind bar in my bag for
Like an
just
animal. It's like,
anticipating.
here,
Yeah. Right. Eat this.
it's true.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. If it really is like a hypoglycemic. What is she like? I want to know like the action, the behaviors of her when she's hungry.
Which just like becomes like a little bit irritable, just like just grumpy, not thinking clearly. Just it's like it becomes like everything else drops, and it's like we need to get you food immediately, right? So
like priority is like immediately shifted. Just
shifts. Feed this tiny person. Yeah,
that makes me feel not so alone. I don't feel like such a weirdo. Yeah.
No.
I love that.
Well, I think it's a good time to go to the fourth clip that we have with Pallavi, where we're talking about fight or flight.
My favorite.
A
feeling I know very well.
Yeah. You mentioned something that really piqued my curiosity. I don't know if that metaphor works, but I think it does. We're going to go with it.
I think so. Yeah.
So you were referring to anxiety living outside of the conscious mind. Is there a reason why? Is it just like that's in our base, when we were we are Homo sapiens. When we were like, running around like the savannah, right? Like back in before we were evolved a bit more, that's just kind of baked into the deepest parts of our minds. Like fear lives deeply in there. Geez, what a way to get around that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's our fight or flight, it's our nervous system. So when we're in fight or flight, that's the other reason they tell you to take deep breaths, because fight or flight is an activated state. And so you have to like switch over which nervous system is working. And you can do that by breathing, where you signal to your body, okay, no danger here. I don't have to feel that way. So yeah, I remember in grad school, one of the very first classes I took, the professor just kept using this word anxiety. And he used to say it like that, anxiety, as though that's really the key to everything, right? All the weird stuff we start doing is in service of avoiding anxiety. And so, yes, it is very base. It is very fundamental. It is something that we are trying to navigate from birth. And that's why attachment theory and our relationships to our mothers or caretakers becomes such an important factor in our ability to resolve our own anxiety ourselves. And so that's why people end up in therapy, because they didn't get those tools, they didn't get that security. So yes, it is very base. Sometimes people feel like it is very top of mind because their anxiety will come with swirling thoughts and things that feel very real and pronounced. But the depth of it really comes from anger and aggression that isn't able to come out. So it's like this kind of energy that is getting recycled in because it has nowhere to go. And that's why I say, depending on the situation, a lot of times the best remedy to anxiety is to advocate for yourself or to assert yourself. So in the case of an elevator anxiety, the elevator breaks down. There is going to be a part of you that's pissed that the elevator's broken down, but what you might be feeling in the moment is, oh shit, what am I going to do? I'm going to die. It's dark in here.
I'm going to be late to this job interview, and then I'm not going to get the future that I want.
Exactly right. So that's why if we can come back down to, okay, how do I advocate for myself and assert myself here? It might be about, okay, I am going to ask for help. I am going to ask someone to help me.
Hmm.
So that, and then that can be the thing that starts to unlock the anxiety.
Yeah. Oh man. It's so funny to hear about how, not getting what we need as basically there's no way that parents can't screw us up, right? It's
Yeah,
just
I
it's bound to
know.
happen.
It's a sad truth, but I guess if we accept it, then really it's just I learned a lot about being the good enough parent, where you're not like trying to twist yourself into all kinds of knots to be perfect and not screw up your kid, but you're doing the best you can, knowing again, trusting again that if something arises, you can work through it. But you have to be
Absolutely.
willing to do that.
Yes. And not just stuffing down all the fear and
Yeah, not
anger,
just like
swallowing
everything's
it like
good,
a
you're good, right? Everything's okay.
yeah. Well, I just want to make sure, is there anything that you think I'm missing or anything that you think would be important to mention related to phobias or, in a particular sense, elevator anxiety here?
I think that we covered it. I made some notes just to make sure.
Okay.
But there was one thing about being trapped because you were talking a lot about the other people. I
Hmm.
think there's also potentially the component of someone being afraid of being trapped with themselves.
Mm.
And that's a big component of anxiety too. A lot of people will, like a workaholic or someone who's just constantly doing, constantly running around, is doing so in service of not being with themselves, not having
Hmm.
to sit with themselves and whatever discomfort that is.
Oh
And so I
God, that's
wonder if
so
there's
real.
also, yeah, right? There's maybe like this isolation component, or there's a what happens if I'm with myself with no other way to distract myself, with no other way to occupy my mind, what comes out. So there's a little bit of a fear of self too that could be part of this.
Oh man, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just had such a natural reaction to that. It's just like that pretty much describes my life, just trying to run at 100 miles an hour, doing everything to escape the bad thoughts. But we're
Yeah,
working on
and
that.
we're working on that. Slowing down a little by little can actually, it's the same thing, right? You just have to show yourself that slowing down is not going to be a catastrophe. The
Hmm.
more you do it, you'll recognize, like, oh, that actually helps. I'm actually being reinforced to keep
Hmm.
doing this, right? The more you get into an elevator and it doesn't break down, the safer you're going to feel, the more resilient you'll be that time that it does.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's a wonderful reminder. Oh, I want to give you this opportunity to talk about you. Where can people find you on social media? If you want to talk about COA, which I think you should,
Yeah.
all the things.
Awesome. Yeah, find me on social media. I haven't been on Twitter so much because I don't know, Twitter's weird right now.
Yeah.
But if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, I'm at Pallavi Yetur. I have a website, pallaviyetur.com, and COA. So I am content specialist and emotional fitness instructor at COA, and that is a company that is really trying to be a gym for mental health. So we're creating emotional fitness classes that you take with a group just like you would at the gym, and we work on all kinds of traits like self-awareness, resilience, which I mentioned a bunch today. So we have kind of a gym membership, and that is a monthly fee that you pay to have access to all of those live classes. We talk about burnout, we talk about boundary setting. We also have a whole on-demand library of content around all those kinds of topics. And if you're an iOS user, we have a mobile app that gives you a daily exercise that you can do to keep working out your emotional
Awesome.
fitness. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is that new?
It is new. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
haven't seen that. I got to download the app. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
download that. It's so new that they still aren't on Android, so don't worry, I am pestering them about that because I'm an Android user.
But cool. Congratulations. I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. Actually, a lot of what I've been working on the past several months has been those exercises. So if you do them, I had a big hand in creating them. So thank
Nice.
you
That's
for
awesome.
participating.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you
Awesome.
so much for coming on again, and I'm sure we'll have you back again soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's do it.
Woo!
Thank you.
One of life's mysteries is that birthdays always find me unprepared, catch me unprepared. I don't go on Facebook as much, so I don't notice them as much. But I want to express my love and appreciation for friends and family. That wasn't part of the copy. I'm just saying it. Year after year, month after month. Even when I see it coming, I'm not ready. Am I a jerk? Yes and no. Why do things have to be so black and white for you? But I've got great news, friends. Introducing monthly card subscriptions from the Cardist Studio. Join the service that delivers the card and the stamp that you'll need to your door. No more errands. Who wants more errands? I don't know why, but I'm starting to think of errands as a kid's name. Errands, go back to bed. Okay, but here's how it works. You choose your categories, from birthdays and celebrations to love and encouragement, or select their full collections and have those thank you notes and just because cards at the ready. Those ones are always so nice. Like when you get a card for doing something and it's just like a small little heads up or token of appreciation, it genuinely makes you feel really good. And best of all, you would never get caught cardless again. Let me repeat, you'll never get caught cardless again. Try to say that a bunch of times in a row. You'll never get caught cardless again. Monthly card subscriptions from as little as $8 per month for the card and the stamp. Delivered to you. TheCardistStudio.com shop subscriptions. And you can use the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your originating order. So in this clip, one of the things that Pallavi talks about is the anxiety of being trapped with yourself. And this is something that I have realized about myself. So you're not alone if this is you, but being trapped with yourself can cause a lot of anxiety. And I know I do things at 100 miles an hour and try to have all these things going on and things I'm working on. Is that, so does this describe you as well?
I think that's a huge thing of, I feel like, my mind races at such a high speed constantly because I'm always in the hustle mode of like, I have to create opportunities for myself or else I'm not going to get paid. I'm freelance. I have to look for jobs. And then if I don't have jobs at the moment, I have to look for survival jobs. And I don't sleep well because my brain is like going like this. So the feeling of being trapped where you are so still and you cannot move at the pace that your body is used to moving is really, really difficult. So you're physically in this place and then you're mentally in this place of being trapped.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that freelance mentality it's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah. You have two jobs. The one job is finding jobs.
Yep, exactly. And it never ends. It never ends. That's the worst part. There's no end goal there. I mean, every job eventually ends. The company runs out of money or they change their vision, blah, blah, blah. So you're back to ground zero every time. And it never ends. And then when, like I said, when you're in between jobs, you're like, all right, how do I make money in a way that makes me feel good and doesn't like suck my soul dry? So not being able to move physically is, it's just terrible to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh man, even that discussion was getting me.
I'm giving you anxiety right now.
No. That's the point of this thing
I feel like the word trapped is like an onomatopoeia. It's like you feel the word.
I've never thought of it, but you're absolutely right. It just like the walls are closing in.
Trapped. Yeah. That's such an interesting point though about the mind and body always moving so that when you can't, it feels like just, I don't even know the word.
Like, oh God.
Threatening.
It's like it's running, your anxiety is running at the same speed.
Yeah.
And then when you slow down, it catches up.
Yeah, it's like, where does it go? You like hit the wall and you're like, oh.
Oh God. Yeah. It's like the monster in a Jason movie or something like that, just catching you.
I need to change careers.
And move to the South.
I know, I really should.
A little bit heady, but the idea of fight or flight being an activated state is an interesting thing to think about, right? You don't think that being in this fight or flight, it's like turning on like a system, and like that system takes over compared to like, oh, I'm just like, my heart rate's up, right? It's just like, oh no, you've pushed this system. I don't really know what to say about that, but it shifts my thinking about it.
Yeah, shifts it in what way?
Like how I would treat it, and geez, how many times am I going to say and? and how I would react to it is what I
Yeah.
was trying to say while
Do
I
you,
said and
how
40 pounds.
often do you feel like you're in a fight or flight? Like in what situations, how often do you feel that it reached that level?
Well, it used to be a lot more often. I take Prozac now,
Mm,
which
okay.
helps immensely with
Nice.
that.
Nice.
Um, it which helps me like provide the. It's very interesting. I don't know if you've ever taken any sort of anxiety
I
medication.
haven't. No.
So how I would describe it is like you still obviously experience all your emotions, and I still experience like, oh, normally I would be at a 12 out of 10 right now. And so it gives you that time to break down, okay, well, I'm not there. So then why am I not there? What was it about that? It just gives you a chance to
Yeah.
like give
Yeah.
perspective. So I'm not at an 8, I'm not at a 6, I'm at like a 3, right? Like
Oh, God,
it's
that sounds so nice.
3 is wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you are present in the moment and you can think
Hmm.
rationally because you're not spiraling out of control. You need like literally in those moments, it's like those movies where someone just gets slapped and they're like, pull it together. And then
Yeah.
they're like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
Because so you're already there when you have those tools. And when you're
Hmm.
not, you're like, I'm just freaking out for no reason and I can't solve the situation because I'm just spending my energy freaking out about it.
Yeah, like for example, moving my car in Brooklyn all the time
Oh,
was, for alternate day parking was always such a crazy, like, is this going to take forever? Am I going to get a ticket? Am I too close to the curb, or is someone going to rob me in this spot? Right? Like, it's
oh
just,
my gosh.
I would be at a 12 during that. And I don't think I would be that high at this point.
Wow. So do you have a driveway now?
Yes. Yeah.
I can't.
I
Wow. What
mean,
life changing in so many ways.
life changing. Like being able to bring a car to a grocery store and park
Parking?
and then
Oh,
bring it back and park.
oh God. Yes.
We're describing very simple things here, and like
I know.
I still appreciate it after living in New York all those years.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh man,
Oh
I
my
feel
gosh.
that so hard. Yeah. But going back to fight or flight and feeling it so often and being like, is this gonna like really mess up my body long term?
Hmm.
That's why with flights, I'm flying so much that I told myself, listen, you cannot let your body go through what you're going through every time you fly. This is ridiculous. Like I told myself, I was mad. I was like, there when we were flying to Greece, I was just going away with my sisters, and it's such a long flight. We're going over the Atlantic, so it's just eerie. And
Hmm.
I was holding onto my seat, and the flight attendant walked by and tapped my hand because she saw that I was like this, gripping the seat.
Oh
She's like,
wow.
relax, relax. It's okay. Like, we're fine. And I was like, that made me realize, like, you need to change because other people are noticing. You're not even doing anything but holding the seat, and someone could feel and see that you're so tense and your body is going through such stress as if you're in a real threatening situation. And that's what made me change my way of thinking with flights and making myself meditate. And it has not yet translated to elevators for some reason.
But you're working on it. It's okay. Yeah.
One day I will feel not so my when I'm in the air though, I still have that anxious nervousness, but I'm at a 4 instead of a 10.
Hey,
So it's still there. And then if
that's great.
someone else is more nervous, I can comfort them. I feel like I can be of service to someone else because
Yeah.
I'm sitting in
And
my
you've been there.
I've been there. I know how
Yeah.
they feel. I'm not judging them, and I can feel like I'm doing something for someone instead of just panicking about my own stress.
Right.
Yeah.
Similar to that, something that helped me with my flight anxiety and might be something that helps you with your elevator anxiety is within the body, anxiety and excitement feel the same way. It's the same symptoms, right? Your heart
Yeah.
races, like maybe, you get a little tingly sensation. And that could be something that you or get when you're going on
Yes.
auditions too, where you're like, because you need to be on, right? And in order to be
Yes.
on, you have to. I'm jumping in my seat.
Gotta be
Yeah,
on.
right. Got to be on. You need to be like excited, right? And you're excited about potentially getting the job. So like that, just realizing that feels the
Yeah.
same
Like
was a big turning
channeling
point
it
for
and
me.
being like, think of it as excitement rather than,
It's all
yes,
opportunity.
yes. I have a lot of work to do. I haven't really worked on my elevator anxiety.
Hmm.
It's going to take work for me to retrain my brain, to
Hmm.
talk about stuff, think through stuff, and I haven't done the work. I've just avoided it or gone and went like this and like went in. I have not rationally sat down with myself and said, "Let's have a conversation about this, Alyssa." So
Hmm.
that 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 may be in the works. And this is helping me face all these crazy things I have. When I say them out loud, I feel like a little embarrassed. Like, my God, I sound nutty. But
don't be embarrassed. It's nothing to be. Anyone listening to this podcast is listening because they have anxiety. So everyone's in the same boat.
I know. And I feel like I just said like 50 times. So I'm going to hate the way I sound saying that. But
that's okay. I edit those out.
Great.
So,
yes.
Well, it's been so awesome hanging out with you for these 2 episodes. I hope that this does help you in some way going forward. And thank you for being so open and honest about your experience.
Yeah, this was honestly so fun. I feel like I faced some fears out loud that I'm going to have to like internally work through. So this was like fun catching up with you, a therapy session. I'm going to be like taking elevators like nobody's business. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, tell the people where they can find you on social media. And
you can find me on Instagram at Starving Actress NYC, and my personal, my acting page is Alissa Salvatore 20. But that's more for like, my resume stuff. Go to Starving Actress for more food and travel. Yeah.
Watch Alissa eat giant slices of pizza, which is so fun. Yeah. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk soon. Yeah.
Bye.
Well, there we go. Thank you so much to Pallavi and Alissa for coming on and talking about phobias and Elissa's fear of elevators. I really hope that this does actually help Alissa. Just sort of the exercise of coming on a podcast to talk about what scares you. Before I get to the weird thing causing me anxiety this week, I just want to remind you of the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Just a way to make a donation to the show. A tip. Then there's Pure Spectrum CBD with the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off. Put that in at checkout. Get yourself some deals and put another tool in your anxiety toolbox. If you want to sign up for Instacart to get delivery for your groceries, you can do that through the link in the description. And the Carter Studio also offers the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your initial order. I always mess up saying initial when I'm doing this read, like I have it written out. I'm just remembering. So yeah, support the sponsors, and that helps support the show and helps me keep making these. Okay, so the weird thing causing me anxiety this week, and will likely be, it'll come up from time to time, but I'll try not to just say it every week. But Jamie and I started planning our wedding, and oh boy, it's just full-time job. Make sure you exercise, drink plenty of water, get 8 hours of sleep, take care of your anxiety, call your mom, plan your wedding, right? It's just let's just put a couple more plates on the plate spinning that you're already doing. I don't know. I lost the metaphor real quickly. But yeah, I just got to keep my thought process on how awesome and fun like the actual day will be, and just sort of take on what I need to take on, and find moments where I can breathe, because it's going to be stressful and expensive. Maybe I can do an episode on that. Ooh, look at me coming up with content. Well, as always, thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.